Hey, good evening. How are you? It's Dr. Morris from Magnolia Medical here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Hope you are having a great day. It was a really interesting day here in Tennessee. We had 72 degrees, like 7 days into February, 72 degrees. It was super, super windy. And now it's going to be rainy, and then it's going to get really, really cold again, which sucks. Uh, so anyway, I can't complain. It's not Wisconsin. My sister lives in Wisconsin. Shout out to you, Christy. And I can't complain because it's not that cold. We're actually going to go camping this weekend if all goes well. Anyway, I want to come to you tonight and ask you what you think about this hype regarding the measles outbreaks. I'm sure if you watch the news, you've heard about measles outbreaks. If you go on to a few weeks back on our Facebook page, my wife and I did a Facebook Live like I'm doing right now about vaccines. Wanted kind of some opinions on that, give you our opinions on it, and just want you to just take a look at the data. You know, one of the things I talked to my staff about the other day is that if you're going to consider doing vaccines, it's fine. I'm not going to tell you to do it or not do it, but you should read the package inserts for all 70 vaccinations that are done on children and young adults and kids before you give them to your children. You should read the package inserts. And if you're not going to read the package inserts and you're not going to read the data, then please do not say that you're pro or against vaccinations until you actually read the research. But this is about the measles outbreak. Why are you hearing so much about the measles outbreak? Now, I'm 47 years old. When I was a kid, lots of people got the measles. It wasn't a problem. It was no big deal. That's not to say that there weren't times when people died from it, but it was not. It's not to say that it's never been a life-threatening problem, but the numbers of people that have significant problems from measles is minuscule. It is a very, very small percentage of people that has a problem with it. When I was growing up, you took your kids to, if somebody in your class got chickenpox, you took your kids to a pox party, where that way all the other kids could be exposed to chickenpox. And now you have chickenpox vaccines. So there's this big hype about the measles vaccine. There's this big hype about this measles outbreak. And I want you to understand, if you go onto the CDC website, now I did this myself. I had actually, a friend of my wife's, not a friend, somebody my wife knows on a Facebook page she belongs to, commented on what somebody thought about this. Somebody asked the same question. What do you think about this measles outbreak? You know, and the measles vaccine and this big push to make sure people are getting vaccinated. And this person posted something that I really thought was a quite interesting look at this problem. And what she did is she went onto the CDC website and she looked up infectious and contagious diseases. Do you know how many diseases are on the CDC website that are infectious or contagious diseases? Take a guess. Post it in the comments. How many do you think? Now, Karen is watching right now. Is my wife. She can't comment. All right. Matthew, he used to work with us. Great guy, great employee, great person, like-minded individual. He's watching. I don't see any other comments, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Over 1,000. Over 1,000. Okay. Now, why are you not hearing about if there's 70, give or take 70 different vaccinations available for different diseases, and there's over 1,000 listed? Why is there not a big hype about those problems, right? So now, interesting, you can look this up yourself. I encourage you to do so. In the United States last year, and I don't know about 2018, 2017, I think there were 189. I could have that number wrong, but it's around 189. Hi, Sandy. Yeah, you're welcome to do what you want with your children. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your kids or not. I'm posing a question for people, right? So over 70 different vaccinations available, and there's over 1,000 different communicable or infectious diseases listed. In the United States last year, I think in 2017, I think there were 189, if I may be incorrect on that number, somewhere 189 cases of leprosy. 189. Did you hear anything about that? Did you hear about anything about the 189 cases of leprosy? No, you didn't hear anything about it. Now, there's two arguments on why you didn't hear anything about it. All right. But just so you know, some of those were children. Some of those cases of leprosy were children. Okay. And there's two arguments about why you didn't hear anything about it. Number one is that it's easily curable, all right, with antibiotics. Okay. It's a good argument. But there's another argument, which is actually true as well, and that there's no vaccination for it. Okay. There's hundreds of thousands of cases worldwide. Easily somebody could come across the border on a plane. By the way, the measles that we're having now, the CDC states that most of the cases of measles are because somebody's bringing in from out of the country. All right. And sure, kids are getting measles in their classrooms and stuff like that. It could be a problem. I'm not here to argue that, but there have been 189 cases of leprosy, hundreds of thousands of cases worldwide, tens of thousands, whatever the numbers are. But there is no vaccination for it. There's no vaccine for it. So there is absolutely zero money in talking about leprosy. Zero money. There's zero money in talking about leprosy. And there's also zero money in talking about the other diseases that are on the CDC website because there's no vaccination for them. Okay. So, so Amy, I can tell you why, to scare people into staying with vaccination, whether it's real, false, what have you. Yeah, I'm not here to give an opinion. You can watch my old video that my wife and I did on my opinion on vaccinations. I just think that people should understand there's actually sound science behind the idea of what your immune system does when you get vaccinated. All right. There's sound science. It's actually known science about vaccinations. The problem is what's put in the vaccinations. And I don't want to go back and forth on that again. We talked about that before. Look that back up. I don't want to go over that again. I just want you to understand that the idea, the media hype about measles is about money. That's my opinion. You could choose to vaccinate your children. You could choose not to. I'm not going to tell you to or not. I just think, Sandy, your children and grandchildren are all vaccinated. I was when I was a kid. I could tell you that the vaccine schedule when I was a kid was this big, all right? This big. It was not the vaccination schedule that there is now, okay? And if I were a parent or grandparent, I would want either me or my children to read the package inserts on what is actually in all 70 of the vaccines that are in the vaccination schedule now. That would be the responsible thing to do. And then decide, do you want to do it or not? And I don't think that people should be forced to do it, or I don't think that people should be forced to do vaccines. The bottom line, the talk about this is why so much hype about about the measles outbreak. And the hype is about money, okay? Now, I am generally speaking a little conspiracy theorist related. I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory bone in my body. And I heard that the CDC has patents on vaccinations. I was like, does the CDC? And so I thought, is that real? Does the CDC actually own patents for vaccinations? If so, of course they're going to push the vaccinations, okay? Because they own the patents, right? They're going to make money on it. And then I looked at a few different websites and they said, no, that's all conspiracy theory. But you can do a Google search on the patents and actually find the patent filings for and who owns the patents on about 20 different vaccinations. And the CDC actually does, by the paper filed with the government on the patents, the CDC actually does own patents on some of the vaccines you're given. So are they helpful or not? You decide. I could tell you, I don't push people to get vaccinated. We're a medical clinic. I don't push people to get vaccinated. I think you should choose. I think there's sound science behind the idea of vaccinations. I absolutely also believe wholeheartedly that there's a bunch of junk that are put in those vaccinations that can be very harmful to percentages of the population. You choose for yourself. But if you're not going to read the package inserts, don't just jump all over the pro-vaccine schedule. And also, if you're not going to read the package inserts and be educated, don't jump on the anti-vaxxer schedule either. Like, you should be educated before you jump on it one way or another. So anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. I do believe, I'll repeat it again, I believe that the reason for the hype behind, oh my God, what's happening with all these vaccines or what's happening with these outbreaks, that hype is around money. That is not hype around the disease itself. Chickenpox, give me a break. Sure, there's people that get chickenpox. It can be dangerous to them. I agree with that completely. Problem is, are we really trying to eradicate chickenpox because it's dangerous? No, it's a money-making deal. It's a money-making deal. I would never uh, go down the road of trying to line the pockets of some pharmaceutical company over chickenpox. That's my opinion. I don't know if this is helpful or not. Share this if you'd like to. This is not one of those ones that I ask people to share because it's necessarily going to change somebody's mind or help them see light differently. But I do want to open people's eyes to the pharmaceutical industry and how it's run. I think there's a bunch of lies in that, a bunch of lies around healthcare, and I'm trying to wake people up and help them actually have just maybe a different viewpoint on what they're being fed, the information they're being fed. And you should fact check me on stuff. So go ahead, fact check me if you'd like to. Another thing that I like to talk about, actually, I just harp on this for a second. Last week, beginning of the week last week, I should do a whole video on this, but beginning of the week last week, an entire shipment, I say a shipment, it wasn't like it came over in a container. In the bottom of a truck, a cucumber truck, 254 pounds of fentanyl was seized at the Arizona border. 254 pounds of fentanyl. 254 pounds of fentanyl is enough to kill somewhere between 57 million and 100 million people. And when we talk about the people that are addicted to those medications, and I say this over and over and over again, I don't care how many times I have to say it, about 80% of the people that are addicted to opioid medications became addicted due to a prescription written by a doctor. We have to take better responsibility for the people in this country and not have opioid medications or a lot of medications prescribed. I just saw this statistic yesterday. I was doing a little bit of research on population of the planet. There are now 327 million people in the United States, 327 million. That means the United States makes up about 4.2% of the entire world's population. And we consume over 75% of all the medication produced on the planet. Over 75%, 4.2%, give a little more than 4.2%, consumes over 75% of all the medication produced on the planet. Folks, we do not need more drugs in this country. If it worked, then we would be one of the healthiest countries on the planet, and we are not. Our healthcare system ranks like 41st in the world. We spend more on healthcare in this country than the rest of the world combined, and we generally rank as one of the sickest industrialized countries. So you do the math. Pharmaceuticals is not helping us solve the chronic healthcare problem. It's not doing it. We do not need enough fentanyl coming across the border in one truck to kill as many as 57 million people. It's asinine. It's freaking stupid. All right. And the doctors have to wake up. The pharmaceutical companies need to be held accountable. And I'm not going to shut up about that. And I'm also not going to shut up about the fact that this measles outbreak and all you hear about the news is due to money grabbing from pharmaceutical companies. Share this if you'd like. Don't share it if you don't like. Give me some thumbs up or some hearts if you like it. You can give me some of those angry faces if you don't. I'll take whatever you got coming at me. I appreciate you watching. We do at Magnolia Medical, we deeply care about the people that share the planet with us, and we care about our community. And we constantly strive to do the right thing for the population that we can care for. Dr. Morris from Magnolia Medical signing off. I hope you have a great day, great evening, and I hope you have a healthy one. Take care.